Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for a community briefing. First up with an update is Mayor Sarah Karen.
Good afternoon. It's good that we have no more cases in Cottington County today. We do expect the number to rise though, and we hope that people will remain calm as that happens. It's our goal to extend the time out and so that the natural extreme peak doesn't happen. This way we can keep the numbers in a manageable level. The airport numbers have dropped, but the airport is open for service. It remains locked until 2 hours before the flight. All staff there are exercising social distance requirements, and please don't be alarmed, but the staff is wearing gloves and masks just to be safe. Passengers will be expected to also comply with the CDC guidelines, including the 6-foot minimum social distance. I'm receiving reports of sports groups practicing together and not honoring the social distance. The same is happening at some playgrounds. Young children must be taught, and parents and older kids must teach them. We all need to work together with kindness and concern. Exercise is important, and people do need people, and socializing is possible within limits. The importance of maintaining a social distance of 6 feet and washing hands frequently cannot be overstated. Please do not participate in activities which cannot be done in compliance with the CDC guidelines. Use creativity to come up with ways to socialize at a proper social distance. Wash your hands, because we humans will touch our faces. We don't even realize that we're doing it, and that's how the virus is spread. Our fire rescue crews are feeling sad for kids missing out on birthday parties, and so they are offering a birthday visit by a rescue crew. Kids stay inside their house, and the fire rescue folks stay inside the vehicle. But for pre-kindergarten through high school children with an April or May birthday, a fire truck will visit your house with lights and sirens, wishing your child a happy birthday. They will let the whole neighborhood know it's your child's special day. Watertown Fire Rescue wants to help your children celebrate their at-home isolation birthday parties. This does not include a ride on the fire truck, but it's the next best thing. The fire staff will not be exiting the truck or allowing anyone inside the truck or to touch the truck at this time, but they think it will brighten the child's birthday anyway. So if you're interested in this, you may contact Lieutenant Chad Fisher. I'm going to give his phone number. It's area code 605-881-8446. That's 605-881-8446. We will get through this together. So soon it will all be a memory. Just remember to be kind and be healthy. And I'd like to introduce the Cottington County Emergency Manager, Jamie Torstensen, is up next. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamie Torstensen. I am the current Cottington County Emergency Management Director here locally. And been asked today to come in front of you and kind of describe my current role as and what my office does is plays out for the current COVID situation, and also to stay vigilant on some of the flood response incidents that could portray out with our wet conditions. Logistically, I am on the incident command team, or the unified command team under logistics sections. And what that does is we work closely with our county, city, and regional and state officials to provide those resources on any current and expanding incidents as an organized team. Daily we meet to coordinate a lot of those efforts on our local emergency plan and our operations with the use of the South Dakota Department of Health and the CDC guidance and mitigations provided by them on keeping up to date with our current informations. What we try to accomplish is we want to have the proper resources and the proper places at the proper times. A lot of the logistics sections is currently to provide personnel resources and from all public, private, and even nonprofit organizations to help support the cause. And that is about what I do. Currently, I work out of my office by the use of technology, just as we're coming to you today on Facebook Live or what have you behind your computer. We're doing a lot of just that, just as well to keep in guidance with our social distancing measures and what have you. With that, I guess we work closely with EMS, law enforcement, city and county, and like I said before, logistically, Department of Health is leading this role and provided out of our state South Dakota OEM office. That is kind of who I am and what I do. Are there any questions for me, or? I don't think so. Oh, pardon me. Along with we need to stay vigilant, as I said before, with the flood information, because we may or may not have some weather coming later this week. We've met with those efforts as well, dating back in January, and as a flood response team, and we also use the same incident command system to logistically play that out. We do, I believe currently right now only have a sand pile stationed at the lake with the sailboat landing area for people's use. There are other places that could come into play, and we will name them if the incident would come about and expand. I am a excuse me, I'm a provider of those sandbags, so if anybody needs to reach out to my office locally, that is at 882-6272, and or leave a message, or that will push information for me actually through 211 if some of those needs and expanded instances apply. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jamie and Mayor Sarah Karen. Are there any questions from the media? Are Troy and Mike still on?
Yeah, we're here. I don't have anything off the top of my head other than, Jamie, I think you had raised us on the levels. What is the northern watershed looking like up north? Do we have any large amounts of water coming towards Compesca?
Nothing at this current time. We only had just shy a 1/10 of an inch over our weekend system. So that is great news in our effects of that. You know, I start my day as far as surveillance as that is concerned up on that Grant-Coddington line and start running that river channel down all the way with everything that attributes to those water channels, like the Mud Creek or Gravel Creek as some would call it near Rawville, and the spillways out on Sioux Conifer. But as it sits right now, watching the gauges, I think the lake is still at 19 something, at over full, a little bit over the full mark, but knock on wood, so far we are sitting in some pretty good situations, but that is dependent on what comes as fall as moisture. This weekend we're looking at a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of moisture, which could change things up to an action stage as far as river gauges that we monitor daily.
Thank you.
I had a question for Mayor Karen, if she's available.
Certainly.
Mayor, we were, we meaning myself, I'm sure probably other media outlets in town, were sent a news release from a fitness place in town dated March 31st, dated today, feeling that they're being kind of unfairly singled out by the emergency ordinance that shut them down. Are you getting a lot of complaints about this, and what would your response be if you've seen this complaint? What would your response be specifically to this one or any others that you've gotten?
Thank you for that question. And if you weren't able to hear it, it was a response from a fitness business that is in disagreement with the city's ordinance to shut them down. And have I had any, am I getting pushback on that? I understand how they feel. I was getting a huge amount of pushback from the public for keeping the wellness center open, and I maintained that we were able to keep that place clean and people were honoring the 6-foot social distance, but that we don't know how this virus spreads. We have people that could come into the facility when they're harboring the virus and not showing symptoms yet, and shed the virus for others to pick up. And it's a social activity that can be done outside and in the privacy of the home. And so the council elected to close the wellness center. And I actually closed it as soon as I found out that there was a Cottington County case of COVID, and the council ratified that decision. And so what my response would be is, I think if we allowed the businesses to open back up, we are increasing the risk of the spread of COVID in our community. Even if it is perceived to be a small risk, it is definitely an increase in the risk. And so we'll have to take that into consideration. But since the business owner did reach out to me and to all of the council, I'm sure we will discuss this at our meeting on Monday. I haven't had a chance to meet with the individual council members yet to discuss this, but I'm sure it will be a topic. So I'm not feeling personally like we should open those type of businesses back up, because even if there is a small risk, there is an increased risk by allowing those businesses to be open. And I think that would be moving in the wrong direction when the virus is just starting to come here and increase in its presence. So hope that answers your question sufficiently.
One quick follow-up question too, Mayor, and you touched on air service at the beginning of your comments today. And I know that great measures are being taken at the airport to try and keep things sanitized and clean and safe. What would your words of wisdom be to people who are maybe a little bit scared to fly right now, but you want to keep passengers coming into the airport and keep it vibrant as it has been in recent months? One quick follow-up question.
Right. The airport, should we be encouraging people to fly? It is sometimes necessary for people to travel for various reasons, and I will not be the judge of that for others. People have to take personal responsibility to make those decisions, but I think that it would be wrong to promote leisure travel at this time when we know that so many cases of COVID are spread via travel, and it does heighten your risk to travel. So if you have to travel, the airport is available. It's still open and flying. Hope that answered your question. Are there any other questions?
A question for the mayor. Mayor, we've heard a lot about businesses closing. We've heard a lot about some of the negative aspects of this COVID-19 virus. What are some of the positive things that we can talk about in Watertown? You know, we heard from some of the volunteers yesterday. We're hearing that Lake Area Tech is making some masks now and some face shields. What are some things that you're hearing?
Well, there's a huge outpouring of volunteerism going on in our community right now. And if people are interested and willing to volunteer, they should call the 211 hotline, and that will get them all connected up. You can say you want to volunteer in Watertown, and they'll help you do that. We have needs for volunteers in many, many different categories. We're having groups of people with various different skills do things that they're good at, and They kind of let the volunteer tell us what their skills are and what their desires are for helping. But we're seeing people donating money. People are donating resources and food and helping with the food giveaways that we've got going on, and lots of other things. And like I mentioned earlier with the fire department doing birthday visits, we're seeing those kind of things happening, and it's only limited by our imagination. So I urge everyone to just think outside the box and how you can brighten someone else's day. And maybe you can do a ding-dong ditch with a box of cookies for your neighbor and just put them on their step, knock on the door, and run. And, put a little note in there. Do something like that for someone who can't get out or is isolated. There are a lot of people that are severely isolated by what's going on right now, and we need to remember them and think of them, give them a call. And we're finding out we have a lot of ability to meet electronically and have meetings with video. It's almost as good as being there. We weren't doing that before we had to. Now this necessity has shown us what we're capable of, and that's really a wonderful thing. And one more thing I would like to add that's really cool is that Watertown has advanced to the championship round in the Strongest Town competition. And I didn't think that would happen, but it did, and it's really cool. We do have a very, very strong town. I knew we were strong, and I'm seeing that we're getting recognition from all over the nation for this. So you can help us win by Googling Strongest Town Contest and voting for Watertown. And then we'll have another celebration that we'll have to pack up and wait for another day. Any other questions?
Just one more quick question before I end here. Probably for Captain Rehorst to the police department. Steve, what's the mood like at the police department and the fire department? How are our responders holding up in Watertown? And if we have a diagnosis of somebody that does get exposed to COVID-19, what is that going to do as far as our personnel and forces?
Well, we're doing really well at the police department there right now, and I think has a lot to do with the proactive measures we've taken at the police department as far as social distancing, disinfecting things in the police department. We're also constantly sending out information to our officers as far as if they feel, if they have the shortness of breath, fever, or cough or anything like that. We're getting that information out to them. If they do have any of those symptoms, of course, then we'd make sure that they're not coming to work and they're getting those checked out. Any other questions at all, Troy?
Nothing further.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. There will be another community briefing tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Have a great day.